let me down again.
Caitlin Clark has taken the WNBA by storm, breaking records and shutting down critics left and right. But one critic, ESPN's Molly Qerim, went a step too far, claiming Clark's presence on the USA Olympic team would hurt the game. Now, with Clark continuing her historic season, Molly is walking back her words. This is how Caitlin Clark made Molly Qerim regret doubting her. Stay tuned to see how this showdown between an emerging superstar and a high-profile critic unfolded. When the USA Olympic team roster was announced, Caitlin Clark's omission sent shockwaves through the basketball world. For a player as dominant and widely regarded as the future of women's basketball, being left off the roster was puzzling to many. Cheryl Reeve, Team USA's coach, explained the decision, citing Clark's inexperience at the professional level and the fact that she missed training camp due to her college commitments during March Madness. But the real stir came when Molly Qerim weighed in on ESPN's First Take. She boldly claimed that putting Caitlin Clark on the roster would hurt the game, and implied that the decision to leave her off the team was justified.
Stephen A., I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
Molly argued that adding Clark to the team would prioritize marketing over merit, essentially suggesting that Clark wasn't skilled enough to deserve a spot.
That's exactly what I'm saying, because I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their intention, and they're not as talented, and we're not putting the best team out there.
Her words sparked immediate backlash, with fans and analysts pointing out that Clark's on-court performances had already proven her to be one of the most talented players in the WNBA, even in her rookie season. Qerim's comments were controversial for several reasons. For one, Clark had already broken multiple WNBA records by that point, including the fastest rookie to hit 100 three-pointers and the first to log a triple-double. These achievements were unprecedented, especially considering how few rookies in WNBA history have made such an impact right out of the gate. Fans were quick to defend Clark, pointing out that her exclusion from the Olympic team had more to do with logistics than talent. Stephen A. Smith, Qerim's co-host, even questioned the logic behind leaving Clark off the Olympic roster.
I truly believe eyeballs are going to tune in. People are going to be clamoring. Let me get my popcorn ready to see Caitlin Clark ride the bench.
No.
But
the answer is no.
Hold up. But time out. But first of all, there's 2 points to that. Number one, we don't know if she's going to ride the bench. That's number one.
Well, Stephen,
number
they're going to
two,
put out. They're going
to hold on, Molly. You can't ask me a question.
Okay,
Molly, I'm answering your question.
Stephen A., I'm telling you know she's not going to be one of the starting five.
Did you be that idiotic and not make that call when throughout history, Team USA has been in part about marketing? It's dumb, period.
Given her potential to elevate the team's profile and increase viewership, he argued that having a player like Clark on the team wouldn't detract from the competition, but instead enhance the overall level of play and fan engagement. After all, this was a player who had carried her college team to deep tournament runs and was now carrying the Indiana Fever out of a playoff drought. While the debate raged on about her Olympic snub, Caitlin Clark was doing what she does best, proving her critics wrong on the court. By the time the Olympic Games were underway, Clark was already setting new records in the WNBA. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to win Player of the Month, broke the record for most three-pointers in a rookie season, and logged multiple triple-doubles in what is now being called the greatest rookie season in league history. Clark also propelled the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016, a feat that many thought was impossible.
They turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Catching's career. So Caitlin, she continues to make history. She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception.
She not only led the team in scoring, but also in assists, showcasing her ability to make her teammates better. Aaliyah Boston, for example, had the best season of her career playing alongside Clark, with both stars earning all-star nods. And Clark wasn't just putting up stats, she was doing it in style. From hitting logo threes to dishing out jaw-dropping assists, she quickly became the most talked about player in the WNBA. Her rise to superstardom was undeniable, and fans couldn't help but wonder how different the Olympic team's fate could have been had Clark been on the roster. As Clark continued to dominate, Molly Qerim found herself in a tough spot. The numbers didn't lie. Caitlin Clark was proving herself to be one of the best players in the league. On First Take, Molly tried to explain her earlier comments, stating that while she didn't doubt Clark's talent, she believed other players deserved the spotlight as well.
By the way, it wasn't that anybody didn't think she was going to be successful or not play. It was just that we felt the other players in the W deserve shine as well.
Molly, I said...
Really, Molly? Wow.
They jumped on us. They jumped on us, Molly. They jumped on us as a show. They jumped on us as a show when we talk about...
But fans weren't buying it. Social media quickly lit up, with many calling out Qerim for underestimating Clark and not acknowledging her rapid rise to greatness. Even Stephen A. Smith chimed in, saying that it's one thing to want balance in the spotlight, but it's another to deny a player the credit they deserve.
You know why we didn't do a better job of promoting the WNBA? Because the numbers, the eyeballs, the interest, the sizzle, the headlines were not there. No one cared. The public didn't care. And so now you have somebody, that has the world caring, and you say to her, well, you know what? We want to make purely basketball decisions. It's the right thing to do, and we got to be worried about how other people are going to feel.
The tension on the show was palpable, and Molly's attempts to justify her earlier remarks only seemed to backfire. In fact, Clark's success proved just the opposite of Molly's claims. Not only did her presence elevate the fever, but it also brought more attention to the entire league. WNBA viewership surged, and games featuring Clark consistently drew larger audiences than those without her. Fans were tuning in to see the next generation of basketball, and Clark was the face of that movement. Throughout all of this, Caitlin Clark never addressed Molly Qerim's comments directly. Instead, she let her performance on the court speak for itself. Game after game, she continued to break records, lead her team to victories, and solidify her place in the MVP conversation. Clark has always been known for her composure and confidence, and that's exactly how she handled this situation. Rather than engage in the back and forth of media drama, she focused on what she does best, playing basketball at an elite level. Her ability to rise above the noise and deliver on the court is what sets her apart from other players. And it's why, despite the early criticisms, Caitlin Clark is now one of the most respected names in the game. As we look ahead, one thing is clear: Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. If her rookie season is any indication, she's only scratching the surface of her potential. Her historic run has already put her in the conversation for MVP, and she's quickly becoming the face of the WNBA. The USA Olympic team may have snubbed her this time, but with the way Clark is playing, it's hard to imagine a future roster without her. And as for her critics, they're learning quickly that doubting Caitlin Clark isn't a good idea. Caitlin Clark is proving the doubters wrong, and the world is finally catching up to her greatness. What do you think? Did Molly Qerim underestimate Caitlin Clark? Should Clark have been on the Olympic team from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark's rise to superstardom. Trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next.
As we look at Diamond DeShields and Caitlin Clark.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Mm-hmm. Like, you should be killing them. Yeah. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
Cheryl Swoops has been stirring up controversy in the WNBA, particularly with her critical comments about rising superstar Caitlin Clark. This season, Swoops has made no secret of her jealousy, but her latest actions have taken things to a whole new level. ESPN, the network that's been closely following Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise, has highlighted her impact on the WNBA numerous times, making Swoop's criticism even more surprising. Diamond DeShields recently made headlines in WNBA news for an aggressive play against Caitlin Clark, sparking intense debate among WNBA fans. Imagine this. DeShields intercepts Clark at half court during a key Indiana Fever game, not with just any foul, but with a clear, frustration-driven play. The fallout from this incident was immediate, with WNBA analysts and fans calling it out as a dirty play.
Against Caitlin Clark, it wasn't okay. It was a flagrant foul.
Igniting a firestorm of controversy. The aftermath of Diamond DeShields' actions didn't stop at just criticism. DeShields faced a barrage of backlash, including receiving racist threats.
Diamond DeShields received racist threats after Caitlin Clark flagrant foul,
which highlighted ongoing issues within the WNBA community. But amid this storm, Cheryl Swoops stood out as a vocal supporter of DeShields, continuing her narrative against Caitlin Clark. Swoops tweeted, "Head up, kid. Hate will not win. You are covered, and there's nothing these evil people can do about that. All love for you." This tweet, while supportive of DeShields, had significant consequences for Swoops, leading to her removal from the WNBA broadcast team for the highly anticipated Fever versus Dallas Wings game, a pivotal WNBA matchup. When questioned by WNBA fans who were eager to hear her commentary, Swoops didn't hold back, responding with the now famous phrase, "Not today, Satan." But let's be honest, supporting WNBA players who engage in potentially dangerous, career-threatening actions isn't a good look for a WNBA legend like Swoops. This incident isn't isolated, it's just the latest in a series of actions that suggest jealousy and resentment towards Caitlin Clark, one of the most talked about players in women's basketball today. Stephen A. Smith, a well-known sports commentator frequently featured on ESPN, has consistently defended Caitlin Clark, and this time was no different. Smith didn't hesitate to call out Cheryl Swoops for her biased and baseless criticism of Clark.
Swoops. No, Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Cheryl Swoops, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Caitlin Clark?
The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just a buzzword. It's a real phenomenon in women's basketball, driving WNBA viewership and attendance to new heights. Caitlin Clark is redefining the game every time she steps onto the court, breaking WNBA records and setting new standards for what's possible in women's sports. But with greatness comes envy, and Swoops' actions seem to reflect the challenges that come with being a trailblazer like Caitlin Clark. The tension between Cheryl Swoops and Caitlin Clark goes back to Clark's college basketball days. Swoops openly questioned whether Clark's skills would translate to the WNBA, even suggesting that Angel Reese's game was better suited for professional play. Swoops confidently predicted that Clark wouldn't dominate the WNBA immediately.
Like, nah, it's not gonna be that easy. So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay.
But as we've seen, Caitlin Clark has exceeded all expectations, proving her doubters wrong at every turn. But Swoops didn't stop at questioning Clark's abilities. She also criticized Clark's NCAA scoring record, dismissing it as a result of volume shooting rather than skill.
Going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record? Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
However, Swoops got several key facts wrong. She claimed that Caitlin Clark took advantage of an extra year of eligibility due to COVID-19, playing 5 years of college basketball. In reality, Clark played the standard 4 years, just like Kelsey Plum, the previous record holder. What's more, Caitlin broke the record in fewer games, showing that it wasn't just about taking more shots, but making them count. Swoops also exaggerated by stating that Caitlin Clark takes 40 shots per game, when in truth, Clark's average is closer to 19 shots per game. And perhaps the most glaring mistake, Swoops claimed that Caitlin is 25 years old when she's actually just 22.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
These inaccuracies have led many WNBA fans and analysts to question whether Swoops' criticism is based on facts or personal bias. What Cheryl Swoops fails to acknowledge is the monumental impact Caitlin Clark is having on women's basketball and the WNBA as a whole. Caitlin Clark is bringing more attention to the WNBA than ever before, inspiring a new generation of young female athletes and drawing in a wider audience to the league. Instead of uplifting the next generation of WNBA players, Swoops seems intent on undermining their success. But this isn't just about Caitlin, it's about the future of the WNBA. Supporting Caitlin Clark means supporting the growth and evolution of women's basketball. Despite the backlash, Cheryl Swoops eventually issued an apology, though many found it less than sincere. She defensively stated that black people can't be racist, a comment that did little to mend the situation.
I'm gonna say this, and then I wanna be done with this whole conversation. So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, first of all, black people can't be racist.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to break records in her rookie WNBA season, solidifying her place in the history of the WNBA. From holding the WNBA single-game assist record to becoming the youngest player to achieve consecutive double-doubles in points and assists, Caitlin's accomplishments are rewriting the WNBA record books. Yet Cheryl Swoops seems determined to ignore these achievements. It's becoming clear that this isn't just a case of casual criticism. It's starting to look like a personal vendetta, and people are taking notice. Even Stephen A. Smith, known for his outspoken views on ESPN, couldn't stay silent. He publicly criticized Swoops for her blatant bias against Clark.
Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per-game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops herself.
The statistics don't lie. Caitlin Clark is leading the Indiana Fever to new heights, with the team boasting the highest average game attendance and TV viewership in the WNBA. And yet, Swoops refuses to give Caitlin the credit she deserves. Instead, Cheryl Swoops continues to praise other Fever players like Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, while conspicuously leaving Caitlin Clark out of the conversation.
This Indiana team, I'm going to say shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Watch her in AU. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle and just couldn't miss. Kelsey Mitchell is just broken. She is just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double.
This omission is becoming increasingly difficult for WNBA fans to ignore, especially as Caitlin continues to set new records and drive the success of the Indiana Fever. Swoops' refusal to acknowledge Clark's contributions is not only petty, but also damaging to her own reputation as a WNBA legend. And the criticism doesn't end there. Swoops went as far as to suggest that Caitlin's success is due to having better teammates at the Fever compared to Angel Reese's situation at the Chicago Sky. With Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese locked in a tight race for WNBA Rookie of the Year, Swoops' dismissal of Clark's talent is almost laughable. So, what's next in this unfolding drama? As Caitlin Clark continues to rise in the WNBA, will the league and its legends like Cheryl Swoops finally give her the recognition she deserves? Or will a shadow of jealousy continue to loom over her achievements? One thing is certain, this story is far from over.
For me, if Rookie of the Year was picked today, I give it to Angel.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlin Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with? Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is.
ESPN's WNBA rookie rankings just dropped a bombshell, placing Angel Reese above Caitlin Clark. But Clark's on-court response? Nothing short of spectacular. We're diving deep into the WNBA Rookie of the Year debate, analyzing Caitlin Clark's stats, and breaking down the game that might have just ended the WNBA rookie race once and for all. Let's break this down, WNBA fans. ESPN just released their updated WNBA 2024 Rookie Power Rankings, and it's causing quite a stir. They've ranked Chicago Sky's Angel Reese at number 1, with Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark at number 2. If you've been following WNBA games this season, you're probably as confused as we are about this WNBA rookie list. ESPN's reasoning leans heavily on advanced WNBA metrics, citing Reese's rebounds and double-doubles. Reese has 22 double-doubles, including a 15-game streak. Impressive WNBA stats, right? But here's the kicker. Many of those rebounds come from her own missed layups.
Reese with another rebound, making 18 rebounds. Remember, she's got back-to-back with 20 rebounds. Looking, pursuing. Once again, Reese with the tip, another chance. Reese trying to put it back. Oh!
Reese has the WNBA's worst shooting percentage from inside 5 feet, making only 29% of her close-range shots. Now let's talk Caitlin Clark WNBA impact. This rookie sensation is a true WNBA phenomenon. She's the fastest player in WNBA history to record 500-plus points and 250-plus assists. We're not just talking about a good WNBA rookie season, we're witnessing WNBA history. In the recent Fever vs. Sky matchup, Clark didn't just outplay Reese, she dominated the WNBA game. Clark's stat line? An impressive 31 points, 12 assists, and 4 rebounds in just 3 quarters. Clark was benched with 3:52 left, the WNBA win already secured for the Fever. Breaking down Clark's WNBA performance, she shot 8 of 14 from the field, 5 of 9 from three-point range. That's not just rookie efficiency, that's elite WNBA shooting. Those 12 assists? That's top-tier WNBA playmaking from a rookie. Meanwhile, in the WNBA rookie comparison, Reese posted 10 rebounds and 8 points, going 3 of 8 from the field. In this head-to-head WNBA rookie matchup, Clark clearly outshined Reese. Clark's 10th assist of the game broke another WNBA rookie record, surpassing Ticha Penicheiro for most 10-plus assist games by a WNBA rookie. This isn't just a good WNBA rookie season, it's potentially one of the best in WNBA history. Let's look at the bigger WNBA picture. The Indiana Fever finished last WNBA season 13-27. Now with Clark leading, they're 16-16 and in WNBA playoff contention. That's the Caitlin Clark effect on WNBA teams. Conversely, the Chicago Sky are struggling more this WNBA season with Reese than last year without her. While not entirely Reese's fault, it raises questions about WNBA rookie impact. Clark's WNBA court presence is game-changing. Her vision, passing ability, and long-range shooting open up the floor for teammates. Aaliyah Boston, for instance, is thriving with Clark's assists. The entire Fever team plays with more confidence when Clark is on the WNBA court. Beyond WNBA stats, Clark is revolutionizing the league. She's attracting new WNBA fans, filling WNBA arenas, and creating unprecedented WNBA buzz. Young female basketball players watching Clark are seeing new WNBA possibilities. Addressing the Clark-Reese WNBA rivalry. While Reese is talented with a bright WNBA future, Clark is currently playing at a different level. Some are trying to hype this WNBA rookie rivalry, including Reese herself with her gestures and actions. But on the WNBA court, the comparison isn't close. Here's a mind-blowing WNBA stat. Caitlin Clark averages more blocks per game than Angel Reese, despite being 4 inches shorter. That's WNBA defensive impact from an offensive superstar. The final score of the Fever Sky game? 108-81, a dominant WNBA victory for Clark and the Fever. Even the Chicago WNBA crowd recognized Clark's brilliance, giving her a standing ovation as she left the court. That's respect in WNBA enemy territory. We need to address the less pleasant aspect. Late game frustration leading to a dirty play against Clark. But true to her WNBA star status, Clark got up and kept going, showcasing her resilience in the face of WNBA physical play. If ESPN needed this WNBA game to reassess their rookie rankings, they got it. Clark didn't just outplay Reese, she made the entire concept of a WNBA rookie race seem laughable. Clark doesn't need defending. Her WNBA performances speak for themselves. She's not just the best WNBA rookie, she's rapidly becoming one of the best WNBA players overall. Clark's impact extends beyond individual games. She's elevating the entire WNBA, bringing unprecedented attention and excitement to women's basketball. When was the last time we saw this much buzz around a WNBA rookie? Clark's influence will be felt in women's basketball for years. She's inspiring the next generation of WNBA players, showing young girls what's possible in professional women's basketball. Her style of play is revolutionizing WNBA offensive strategies. Those long-range threes and no-look passes aren't just effective. They're making WNBA games must-watch events. As for the WNBA Rookie of the Year race, Clark's performance against the Sky should have ended any debate. She's not just the best rookie, she's a top WNBA player, period. Credit is due to the Indiana Fever coaching staff, especially head coach Christy Sides, for maximizing Clark's WNBA potential. They've built their WNBA offense around Clark's strengths, showcasing smart WNBA coaching strategy. WNBA rankings are opinions, but Caitlin Clark's on-court performances are facts. She's not just meeting WNBA rookie expectations, she's shattering them. The WNBA Rookie of the Year debate is over. Clark settled it with the ball in her hands and the crowd on its feet. The real question, how many WNBA MVP awards will Clark win? We're witnessing the birth of a WNBA superstar, and the league will never be the same.
I idolized WNBA players growing up, and now that I'm here in this moment and I get to do the same exact thing, like, how lucky am I?
Clark gets her first field goal of the afternoon.
Did you catch the final quarter between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings? When it seemed like the game was slipping away, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell rewrote the script entirely. 2 back-to-back three-pointers from Clark, as if she was just messing around in her backyard. Then Kelsey Mitchell joined the party with a deep shot of her own, and suddenly the Fever were back in the game. But this wasn't just about one comeback. This was about a duo that's set to change everything for the Fever from now on. What they just did could shift the entire landscape of the WNBA. Let's start by talking about Caitlin Clark. She's a rookie, yes, but she's playing as though she's been dominating the WNBA for years. On this night, she racked up 28 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, and nailed 5 three-pointers. Those stats alone are impressive, but what's really astounding is how she's making it look easy. Her court vision is next level, seeing plays unfold before they even happen. Opposing defenses are scrambling, trying to keep up with her ability to stretch the floor and create opportunities that didn't exist a moment earlier. But it wasn't just Clark out there. Kelsey Mitchell was on another level too, dropping 36 points, grabbing 6 rebounds, and hitting 5 three-pointers of her own. Mitchell's performance was nothing short of spectacular. She's aggressive, relentless, and when she gets in a groove like this, stopping her is next to impossible. Together, Clark and Mitchell combined for 64 points, more than half of the Fever's total score. This isn't just a good game, it's a blueprint for how they're planning to dominate the rest of the season. Now consider this. The Fever were seen as underdogs when the season began. A team with talent, sure, but not one that anyone thought would seriously compete. And yet here they are, not just winning, but making statements. Before this win against the Wings, they took down Angel Reese's Chicago Sky on the road, a feat that's tough for any team in the WNBA. Winning on the road, especially against strong teams, is a sign that this Fever team is special. The chemistry between Clark and Mitchell is undeniable. It's like they've been playing together for years, not just one season. Clark's ability to read the court and Mitchell's knack for creating her own shot make them a deadly combination. How do you defend against a duo like that? Opposing coaches are left scratching their heads trying to figure out a game plan that can slow them down. But let's not overlook the importance of their coach, Christy Sides. At the beginning of the season, the Fever looked like a team still trying to find its identity. But under Sides' leadership, they've evolved into a cohesive unit. The offense is clicking, the defense has tightened up, and every player knows their role. Sides has done a phenomenal job developing the team's chemistry, and it's paying off big time. Look at how their defense has improved. Early on, they were giving up easy points, but now they're defending like their lives depend on it. Players like Lexi Hull are fighting for every possession, and that grit is infectious. This is a completely different team from the one that started the season, and it's all coming together at the right time. What's really exciting is how Clark and Mitchell handle pressure. They want the ball in clutch moments, and their confidence is contagious. The entire team feeds off their energy, playing with a level of intensity that makes them a formidable opponent. They're having fun out there, and that joy is translating into wins. So where does this leave the Fever in the grand scheme of things? With a record of 17 wins and 16 losses, they're not just in the playoff hunt, they're practically guaranteed a spot. This is a team that was expected to struggle, but now they're on the verge of making serious noise in the postseason. Imagine being one of the top seeds and having to face Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell in a best-of-3 series. It's a scenario that no coach wants to deal with. But here's the kicker. The Fever are still getting better. With each game, they're gaining more confidence and experience. If they keep improving at this rate, they could be even more dangerous come playoff time. They're learning how to win tight games, how to execute under pressure, and how to play as a team. All of this is setting them up to be a real threat in the playoffs. And think about what this means for the future. Clark and Mitchell aren't just a one-season wonder. They're laying the foundation for something much bigger. The Fever is building a team that could dominate the WNBA for years to come. With these two leading the way, the sky's the limit for what they can achieve. Let's also talk about the impact this duo is having on the rest of the team. The confidence that Clark and Mitchell bring to the floor is spreading to their teammates. Suddenly, everyone on the Fever is playing at a higher level. It's as if their excellence is raising the standard for everyone around them. And that's the mark of true leaders. They make everyone else better. Now consider how this all plays out in the playoffs. The Fever is heading into the postseason with zero pressure. They've already exceeded expectations just by getting there. That means they can play loose without the fear of making mistakes. And a team that plays without fear is a dangerous one. Their style of play, with long-distance shots and creative passing, can cause serious problems for teams that aren't used to defending this kind of attack. But here's the thing. Many teams might still underestimate the Fever based on their recent history. They might think this is the same old Fever, a team that's an easy win in the playoffs. But that would be a huge mistake. This is a new team with a new mindset, and they're ready to prove everyone wrong. Perhaps the most important factor is the evolution of the team throughout the season. They've improved in every aspect of the game, and if they keep evolving at this pace, the rest of the league better watch out. Imagine if Clark and Mitchell arrive at the playoffs even better than they are now. It's a scary scenario for any team that has to face them. Of course, winning a title is still a tall order, but making noise in the playoffs, knocking off a favorite, all of that seems increasingly possible. And regardless of the final result, this is just the beginning. With Clark, Mitchell, and the rest of the team, the Fever is building something special.
As we look at Diamond DeShields and Caitlin Clark. And Diamond with 3 fouls against Caitlin. And they're going to go and look at this one.
It all started with a hard foul from Diamond DeShields. Caitlin Clark was breaking down the court after Aaliyah Boston stole the ball and passed it to her. But out of nowhere, DeShields bulldozed her. Again. This wasn't the first time Caitlin had taken a hard hit in this game, and it wouldn't be the last. But here's the thing, Caitlin Clark wasn't fazed. She got back up, brushed herself off, and didn't even waste her energy on DeShields except for a few choice words. At this point, it was clear. Everyone was gunning for her, especially Angel Reese and her crew. They knew if they didn't slow her down, their Rookie of the Year chances were over. Now let's not act like this was just some isolated incident. Take a look at this wild stat. Nearly 80% of all flagrant fouls against rookies this season, they were aimed right at Caitlin. That's right, 80%. And it wasn't just random players targeting her. A large chunk of those came from Angel Reese and her squad. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was an all-out war on the court. This was the final matchup between Caitlin's Fever and Angel's Sky for the season, and both sides knew what was at stake. If Angel Reese could outplay Caitlin in this game, it might just tip the scales for the Rookie of the Year race. But if Caitlin dominated, it was all over. Caitlin wasted no time proving why she's in a league of her own. Right out of the gate, she showed off her signature playmaking, threading the needle with a perfect pass to Nalissa Smith for an easy bucket. But Caitlin didn't stop there. She followed that up by draining a deep three, the kind that makes you wonder if she's even human. The crowd was going wild, and it was clear that Caitlin wasn't here just to win. She was here to destroy. Meanwhile, Angel, she was having a nightmare of a first quarter, missing wide open shots, turning the ball over. It was rough. By the end of the first, Caitlin had already stacked up 7 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Angel, on the other hand, just 2 points and a whole lot of frustration, but things were only getting started. In the second quarter, Caitlin turned up the heat even more. She hit back-to-back threes and kept finding her teammates for easy looks. It was as if she had eyes in the back of her head, dishing out passes that left the Sky's defense scrambling. And Angel? She just couldn't keep up. Miss after miss, frustration was starting to boil over. She picked up 2 fouls, and by halftime, Caitlin had the Fever up by 10, with 15 points and 6 assists to her name. Angel had a mere 4 points and was already in foul trouble. The third quarter was where the game turned into a full-on clinic. Caitlin put on a show, cooking her defenders with lethal crossovers and pinpoint passes. It was like she was playing a different game from everyone else. At one point, she stopped on a dime and nailed a step-back 3 right in Angel Reese's face. The crowd erupted, and even the commentators couldn't believe what they were seeing. Caitlin was running the show, and Angel, she looked completely outmatched. By the end of the third quarter, Caitlin had dropped 25 points, dished out 9 assists, and pulled down 4 boards. Angel, meanwhile, was stuck on 6 points, and her Sky were down by 14. With the game all but wrapped up, Caitlin's dominance didn't stop. She was toying with the Sky's defense, slicing through them and finding wide-open shooters like it was nothing. Every possession was another nail in the coffin, and Angel Reese could only watch as Caitlin ran circles around her team. Then came the final dagger. Caitlin finds Lexi Hull for back-to-back threes, and with that, the Fever pushed the lead to 20. It was a statement, plain and simple. Caitlin had not only outplayed Angel, she had embarrassed her on the biggest stage of the season. But it didn't stop there. Right as the Fever started to pull their starters, DeShields once again took her shot at Caitlin. This time, a cheap shot to the body that sent Caitlin flying to the floor. The refs wasted no time, flagrant foul without a doubt. But what did Caitlin do? She got up, smiled, and waved to the crowd, letting them know that nothing could stop her. Not fouls, not trash talk, and certainly not Angel Reese. Caitlin had the last laugh, hyping up the Fever fans as she left the court. She had just dropped 31 points with 12 assists and 5 rebounds, putting the Rookie of the Year debate to bed once and for all. As for Angel Reese, she petted her stats during garbage time, finishing with a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. But those numbers meant nothing. Everyone knew Caitlin had already won, not just the game, but the season-long battle for Rookie of the Year. Caitlin's message was clear. This is her league now. And if you think this performance was something, just wait. Because next up, the MVP conversation. After nights like this, there's no doubt Caitlin's got her eyes on even bigger prizes.